Uh, I don't know what level of assault biting a minor is.
I said fight me.
Bite you? Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. How are we, Mike? How are we doing? How are we doing?
Pretty good, you know. I was playing Ye Old Fork Knife yesterday, you know, and I am not the master builder, but I'm passable. So like I've got a duos partner
Yeah.
who's 15, but the guy is just a freaking god at the game. And like every once in a while I get playing with all of his friends too, and half of them are like 15-year-olds, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, dude, I can only deal with one of you at a time. And you know, we're having a good time, and so we're playing this final fight, and the last circle happens to be at Mansion, and so it becomes a game of King of the Hill at Mansion, and I'm the first one in, and we're all in Mansion anyway, so there's no building inside there, and so I soloed a duo and took it out, and then like in the last seconds he went crazy and cleared like six people, and I'm like, dang, Zach. And one of the other people who died, he's like, yeah, what did you do? I'm like, I took over the hill. Like, he didn't even have to kill those six people. We were going to win. He's like, oh, yeah, that's right. And I'm like, that is right. I was useful.
Oh man, So I recently I plugged in my charger for my Switch. So
Yeah.
I've been on my Switch and I bought the Minecrafts
Yep.
because to be all honest, it was a bit of a meme, but I felt that it'd be good to have on the Switch just for if I'm bored and I have it with me. It's portable,
Mm.
and there's just so much you can do in Minecraft.
That that way you can build up Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Nah, different version. And I also got Fortnite on the Switch as well because that's a thing.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm dreadful at the game. I'm absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
I will get one kill on a good day, but that'll be in squads. So like
I
I'm very dreadful at this game, and so when I got it on the Switch, I went, you know what? Let's. I'll humor myself. On I'll jump in on solo. My first game, I got 6 kills, got second. Everyone on the
wow.
Switch is absolutely dreadful.
Wow. I need to play there then because I I I don't get kills in squad because my squad mates are really good. Like I won a duo yesterday with my friend, and yeah, and it was like he's sitting there with like 6 kills, and I'm like, I got two.
Oh man.
I got that hot revive for you.
All right, but I don't know about you, but let's start on with the topic
Yeah.
of today's pod of the casts. We're
Yep.
starting with a bit of talk about The Incredibles 2 since we've both seen it.
Hmm.
I saw it
Yeah.
about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And I actually saw it the 2 days before our last late morning.
I think I saw it on the 15th, I think. Yeah, 15th. 15th. Oh, hello, Mr. Beanbum there in the chat. I
Yes.
think we'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. We'll
I
keep it as spoiler
mean,
free as possible.
yeah, I can try and keep it as
I mean,
spoiler free as
I'm not
possible,
gonna.
but there's one small spoiler that's
I just
not
want to talk about.
really a big
I just want to.
plot
I want
point.
to. Yeah, like that's the same. I want to
That
talk.
bugs me.
I want to. Ooh, really? Because I just want to mention two things that I absolutely loved about the movie, and then just general impressions, that sort of stuff, before we move on to the
Okay.
big fixing the DC
Yeah.
extended universe. But I'll let you
Mhm.
go. I'll let you go first and talk about the little thing at Naxi. Just
So,
try not to spoil the story.
so 14 years ago, Incredibles ended with
The
with
Underminer.
the Underminer.
Just fun fact, I
And
played the Disney game that they released on the PlayStation 2 for that, The
yeah,
Incredibles: Rise of the Underminer, and it was this Mr. Incredible and Frozone taking on the
yeah.
Underminer. It was it's pretty lit. It's pretty lit.
And so I'm like, okay, so they're going to take out the Underminer, you know? He's going to be dealt with. He's like the first, villain you actually see Mr. Incredible fight. Besides Bomb Voyage, who, by the way, might not even have a power. He might just be French and like bombs.
I love his name so much.
Yes, me too. Anyway, and he gets away.
Yeah, no,
The
I'm completely
Underminer
fine with it.
the Underminer gets away, and then everyone is like, not only does he get away, he gets away with all the money he was stealing.
Well,
And
that's
and they're just like, oh, okay. No one
mm,
goes after him. He's
no.
never mentioned
It's
again.
You
And
see,
I'm just like,
I'm just completely fine with that. He wasn't integral to the plot of the film.
it's not the plot of the film. He's integral to the story. He's integral to the world. You can't just have people stealing and beating good guys and then just being like, yeah, deuces, I'm gonna retire to Bermuda.
No, I feel as though, yeah, that's just it was an obvious path, and I think Brad Bird just didn't want to explore that avenue because I absolutely
So,
love Brad Bird. But I absolutely love this movie. I think it's brilliant. I don't know if it's as good as the first one, and the only way that I can compare the two is when the Blu-ray release of Incredibles 2 comes out, and I'll watch them back to back. I'll buy them both on Blu-ray at the same time. I'll watch them back to back, and I'll see which one I had the most fun watching, and that's will be my deciding on which one I liked. There were two things I absolutely adored about this movie. The first scene, and I'm going to stay as completely spoiler free as possible. I don't think this is too much of a spoiler, but there's a scene where Jack just finds a raccoon in the backyard and he just fights the raccoon, and it's the single best thing ever. Just a little baby beating the ever loving shit out of a raccoon. Like, the raccoon starts winning at points, and then Jack like gets his little spur of energy on and just comes back at him. The second point of this movie that I absolutely loved was Edna mode. Edna was a very, very big highlight for me. I loved Edna. I love Edna and what the character serves. I mean, it's very world building what she does, but it's just again, I'm not going to say anything, but Edna is also a massive highlight, and the animation. Holy hell! The detail that they have on the animation is absolutely phenomenal. Just on Bob's shirt, just like the little tufts of fabric that you see sticking up there. It's absolutely brilliant. And when there's a scene in the trailer where he's holding a cookie, trying to get Jack going, ooh, num num cookie, and you just see the bags under his eyes, and you can physically see the individual bits of like little beard stubble on his chin, and it's just breathtaking. And after watching, I watched bits and pieces of the first one after I've seen the second one, and computer animation does not hold up. It does not hold up in the slightest.
well, I can answer the question for you. One is better than two. It simply just is.
I have a feeling that'll be the case, but I still don't want to give a definite yay or nay until I see
I
till I see them back to
actually
back.
I was a bit let down by two
You
actually.
see, I
I
wasn't. I wasn't.
I uh I I was expecting more. There were some things, especially after seeing one, that really frustrated me. And without going into spoilers too much, I really I really didn't like the villain.
Oh no! You see, the villain. The villain. I didn't. Yeah, the villain is not as good as the first one. It was predictable. I saw it coming, But I still, that's not the reason that I go watch The Incredibles. I don't watch The Incredibles because their villains are
It's
amazing.
it's not
I watch
about
The Incredibles
predictability, it's
because
about utility for the villain for me.
I liked it
It's
because it's the great family movie at heart.
no, no, no. One is the great family movie.
So's two. So is two. Two has a lot of good family moments.
And then I will say that the new the new math part that has been in the previews was a bit on point there,
Yeah.
to the point where it's just like, why would you change math? And I'm just like, good question though. I'm pretty sure my brother's going to be going over that pretty soon, since he's got a son in second grade right now, and my brother is good at math. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be going through the why would you change math phase in the next 3 to 5 years.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah, I mean, if someone doesn't want spoilers, it's hard for me to really talk about why I dislike the film. But, I don't know. It felt like, I mean, I loved the music
oh, the
because
score is
it's
always good.
jazz.
The score is
It's
amazing. It's
jazz.
the mix of the James Bond jazz and oh man, very spy
Yeah.
themed. Oh, it's brilliant.
hmm And and I will give you that squirrel scene. I did not see, or that raccoon scene. I did not see coming, and I really enjoyed
Oh
that.
man, I was laughing so much during that. It was so much fun. It was so much fun.
And
Which is exactly what I like about the movie. It's fun. It's fun, and I think that's what most movies should be. I didn't walk into this expecting it to be something like La La Land, where, like, I'm praising it for its artistic style. I'm not looking at it as a pretentious film critic. I just went in there to have a bit of fun because it's Disney and it's Pixar, and that's what they're there to do. Firstly, they're there to have fun. Secondly, they're there to drop some massive messages
I
in there
was
for the
I was
adult
wondering
audience.
I was wondering why you hadn't seen Incredibles 1. I'm like, dude, how did you avoid it? And I'm like, all right, he's just a boy. He's just a boy.
What do you mean I haven't seen
Sorry.
Incredibles one?
Didn't you say you hadn't seen
No,
Incredibles 1
I've seen
or
the first
seen
Incredibles.
bits and pieces?
No, I've seen it in its entirety. It's an amazing film. But what I said is that I won't be able to say that two's better than one once I sit down and watch them both back to back.
Well, you should be able to say that already, because I mean, one was great, and two was also released.
Two was great. I quite enjoyed the two. Give it a school rating, so like a B, C, A. Where would you put it?
Well, are we talking? Oh, okay. Comparatively to other movies I've seen in the theater, my enjoyment probably a 6 out of 10.
A 6 out of 10. Okay, so where's that? Like a C plus?
No, no. I mean, the thing is, I don't go. The thing is, I don't go and see movies I won't enjoy. So 6 out of 10 is probably one of the worst ratings I've given to a movie I've seen in the theater in a long time. Because even the DC movies that I go and see, I end up enjoying in the theater. So
I
I think I enjoyed Incredibles 2 in the theater, but like the whole time there was just little things that made me like kind of bite my lip and say, okay, don't get angry about this, don't dislike this, just try and enjoy the movie.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. I'm gonna give this an A minus. Personally, I'm gonna give it an A minus because it is a great film, great moments, great score. The voice acting is it's a little distracting at first because the film picks up directly where the last one went off. but because everyone has aged 14 years, they sound 14 years older, and it's just a bit difficult to adjust. But once you adjust to it, it's completely fine. You don't worry about it because the rest of the movie is just so much fun.
It was weird for me because before they started the movie, they had the voice actors introducing why they'd been gone for so long. And it was weird. Like I could like I got frozen because I knew it was Samuel L. Jackson, but when Robert Parr started talking, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's weird to see his face. This guy's you're not Robert Parr, you're Mr. Incredible. And about like 3 minutes into the movie, I got that the name is Parr and he's Mr. Incredible. And I'm like, okay, I get that joke. I enjoy it. I never heard it before because par is something in golf. You know, when
Yeah,
you're
yeah, you're on par, you're
either
on
you're
par, yeah.
making par, you're above par, you're below par. And so par is like average.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Alright. This one has
Oh,
been this question here has been it's been in my head for a few days.
okay.
And this is gonna be our interpretation of how to fix the DCEU. Now, I don't know if you know, but there's been a few Kevin Smith's podcast on Kevin Smith, the big nerd
Yeah.
himself, Clerks and Jay and Silent Bob. He also directed Tusk as well, which is just it's a great horror movie for the wrong reasons. He had the Infinity War writers down, and they said how to fix the DCEU was to not make a universe, which is exactly what Marvel did. He said, do exactly what Marvel did and not have the sole intention of making a universe, which is exactly what DC had planned from the get-go. But they said to stick with one character, do this character amazingly, and make sure everyone knows the character and do the character justice, then move on to another character, and then once you have a few more, then you can branch off and make a universe. But you can't just start off with the sole intention of making a universe, because it won't work. So, with that in mind, I think the best way to fix the DCEU is to have an amazing Batman movie.
Spider-Man.
Dude, if I could, I would. I think that is to have an amazing Batman movie. And how would I make an amazing Batman movie? Well, person who didn't ask the question, let me tell you. So I would have this movie start off with Batman going up against someone that we haven't seen on screen before. Maybe someone sorry, I've mixed my start and end. My first one I would do is have him go up against someone that we already know, a character that's, been in like the Tim Burton one. So I'd have him go up against the Penguin, who I would have be
You'd
played
have
by...
him go up against like Oogie Boogie Man.
No, I'd have him be Penguin, which I'd cast as Andy Serkis, because Andy Serkis would be amazing as the Penguin. And yes, I'd have Batman go up against the Penguin and come out on top. And cool. You have some great action pieces in there with Batman taking out goons, Batman going up against, a big Batman villain. And then that's it. There will... On Batman's way back to the Batcave, he will, hear a gunshot in the distance, and he goes to investigate. But all it is a bullet with the Bat insignia on it, the Bat logo on it. And so, cool. He takes that, puts it in the Batcave, starts investigating, doing his detective stuff. Boom, couple nights later, month goes by, whatever, another villain comes in. I'd have this one be Mr. Riddler, played by the brilliant Neil Patrick Harris, and I have Batman face off against him.
Sorry, I just can't picture Neil Patrick Harris as anyone else besides Barney Stinson.
No, Neil Patrick Harris would be a great Riddler. I wanted him as Riddler. He did a Halloween picture. He had a Halloween picture, and he was the Riddler, and his kids were like Batman and Batgirl, but he was the Riddler, and I saw that and I went, oh yeah. I didn't know how much I wanted that until now. But so I'd have that. But that's what I would use. I would use those two fight scenes, Penguin and Riddler. I would use those for the marketing strategies, and that's what you used to throw the trailer in there. You use only those scenes so people think they're just going to see a Batman movie where he fights the Penguin and he fights Riddler. Cool. People we know, going to be cool action scenes, and that's it. But what happens within the middle is there's this side plot of, this bullet with the bat insignia on it.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is, Batman takes down another villain. Let's say this time it's Ivy. He takes down Ivy. And then after he's leaving, he gets ambushed by one dude. And the one dude ends up being Mr. Jason Todd. And we have a Red Hood storyline. And the movie is focused on Batman and his struggle with Red Hood or Jason Todd.
But you have to have Robin before you can have Red Hood.
No, we don't. We've already seen the teaser in BVS, Batman v Superman, of the Robin suit with ha 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 jokes on you. So you can have Robin flashbacks in this, easily. You can have Robin flashbacks, totally.
No,
but
it ruins the character.
But
you cheapen the character that way.
But I feel as though the way to make a decent Batman movie is to market it as though it's going to be something completely different, like just a normal Batman movie. Pretty much, yeah. And then, boom, out of nowhere, big shock, we're doing Red Hood. No one knows about it, so the theatre absolutely is shocked, There's some surprise elements to that, like it is a surprise to Batman that, oh, damn, it's Jason Todd, and the theatre at the same time, the audience will be going, oh, damn, it's Jason Todd. That's the way that I would fix the DCEU. Start off with a strong
I'm
Batman.
Coming at it from a
a
very different perspective.
Strong Batman character, and because a lot of, I hate to say it, but a lot of DC's strongest villains are all Batman villains. I can only think of two other villains who aren't Batman villains who were strong in their own. That's Lex Luthor and the Reverse Flash. The rest of the strongest characters that are villains come from Batman. So if you can set up a Batman-esque universe where you have the strong villains, you have a strong Batman, you have a weak Batman as well, because you see Red Hood also gives that human side to Batman. You can build the foundations from Batman and branch out from there. And from Red Hood, you can then offspring into a Titan series. I mean, I know I said to not branch out and to not focus on branching out, which I shouldn't. But from Red Hood, Titans can be built upon that, just, in case you were worried if that wasn't a possibility. That's the way I'd do it. I'd make a strong Batman with strong characters that everyone knows and recognizable, plus someone that we haven't seen a live-action version of. So you get something old, something new, in order for people to build upon.
Yeah, but what's your something borrowed and something blue?
Blue, Nightwing. Throw Nightwing in there if you want to. There you go. There's your blue thing. And something borrowed. I don't know.
Here's my problem with your plan. The first part is make a good movie. Now, as we can have seen, we can't depend on them to make a good movie. Or we can't, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I have enjoyed their movies, but we're talking, we need a hit. You know what I mean? Like, we need a really big movie, not like a good movie.
That's exactly why I went with Batman.
Yeah.
He's a big character, everyone will be drawn to him.
But the thing is, Batman doesn't necessarily guarantee a good movie. So what I would do is use what's already worked to build the new DCEU. And you know what the other thing is? It would go over very well, or at least I feel it would, if you start the DCEU with Wonder Woman.
Nah.
It would be something different. Hey, I listened to your whole spiel that
Sorry.
was literally, hey, let's do the exact same thing we did before, except again. So you got to listen to mine. So I feel like the problem is that you can't just restart because they just had a Batman, they just had a Superman, they just had an Aquaman, they just had all these people. You can't just be like, no backsies, and we restart again. Let's do it right this time. Like, you can't do that. You know, for the same reasons why you can't have Deathstroke in the DC CW Arrowverse. You can't just keep restarting because you said so. You have to apply it to casual fans. Now, if Guardians of the Galaxy showed anything, it's that good movies don't need popular characters. If they're good, they get by on their own. And so I would argue that what's more important is taking one central character that's very important and having them be the heart of the DC universe. And I think that could be Wonder Woman. Now, I would keep building her up because they did a good job with it. And I would not even, and you can have a wink and a nod, but nothing so outright. Like Easter eggs, but not like Easter eggs that I would even notice in the theater. I want like Easter eggs that only people who like read the comics might notice in the theaters. When I watched X-Men, they had a list of mutants in X2 on a database, but they had their human names, and they never go by their human names. So it had like Remy LeBeau, Eric Linshear, and a couple more on the side. And like, if you don't actually follow the X-Men, you probably don't know Remy LeBeau is Gambit and Eric Linshear is Magneto. And so what I would be doing is I'd be building up Wonder Woman and making her basically take on the role of Superman, but she's not Superman. And so, like, the thing is, Superman never seems to get, like, overwhelmed by the stuff that's happening to him, which kind of undoes the entire idea of the Justice League. But, you know, I'd like to see, her doing her thing, saving the world, whatever. And like every time she does it, it just gets a little closer to things going terribly wrong. And so you kind of get this building idea that she can't handle everything on her own simply because the magnitude, the number of people she's fighting, the villains that are caused by the world and the villains that are caused by her. Like, because that's a big thing with a lot of DC villains, is they are caused by the hero that, spawned them. Like, Lex Luthor is created by the fact that Superman exists. Joker is created because Batman exists. Like, those were, like, Lex Luthor's whole thing is he, like, does not trust Superman. Or that was in, like, he did not want to trust this overwhelming power to an alien. And so I would have that be one of the central tenets. And then the second DC character I would bring in would be the Green Lantern, because he hasn't been in a long time. And not only could you do that with a human character, you could bring in the Lantern Corps to basically see, this is going on. This is all the crazy things going on. We see the Earth needs this. We need some people. We bring them in. And here's the other reason why specifically you stay away from Batman. because one of the really amazing things about Batman is that he's keeping up with heroes without powers. Well, he's always doing that, and it's never really, it always seems to be missing, because the difference between him and Iron Man is he's keeping out without powers, without a super suit. Iron Man has a super suit. Iron Man has all of these things, so it's not the same at all for him. Like, he has built something that makes him better. Batman is just better by gadgets. And so what I'd like to see is, after we have, all of these problems where this kind of stuff is happening, because they're all in different cities. And so Wonder Woman, who's been flying all over the U.S., basically splits in half the U.S. with, the new Green Lantern, whomever that would be. Whether it's John Stewart Diggle or Hal Jordan. And they split up this universe, and then there's two problems, and then at the same time in Gotham there is a problem, and it looks bad. And I want it to be something that looks like no human should be able to handle. And then it just comes by as a news report that a masked figure took care of it. And, like, they defused this bomb and blah, 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 and whatever, and so then it becomes a hunt for this character that everyone knows is Batman, but but they don't know, because they're building this character up, and it becomes this hunt to figure out who this guy is and what he's doing and why he's doing it and all that. And I think Batman could be a third character, but I think he needs to be out of the universe for a while and make the world actually want a Batman character, instead of just like force feeding another one in before, like, you've built a universe for it. And so, maybe once you start. And the other thing is, I would be having all of these characters start off younger. Like, the only character I would not consider recasting is Wonder Woman, because she knocked it out of the park, and she is still a young actress who isn't completely, like, defined by this character. But besides Robert Downey Jr., when you look at a lot of the characters in the in the Marvel universe, like, a lot of them weren't, like, heavy hitters before. I mean, Chris Evans definitely had his stuff, and he was good, and he had some movies under his belt, but he was not the level of a Ben Affleck before becoming Captain America, in my opinion. So, like, the thing is, Ben Affleck is very popular already, so if something goes wrong, Ben Affleck really has the weight behind him to just be like, well, you know what? I'll leave. I'll be fine outside of this. Maybe Chris Evans would have been fine, but, like, he has the all the reasons to stick around, even if things go poorly, to try and make it work. You know what I mean? Even if, like, one movie goes poorly, because, like, Ben Affleck's already pulling the exit on this whole thing. And he was doing that, like, years ago. And I don't know why, and I guess I never will. But, that didn't sit well with me. That, like, the entire universe was built around Ben Affleck. Because, like, let's be real, it is very much built around around Batman and Superman. And he's already pulling the ejection seat, before he's even got his own movie. And now they're all scrambling to see what they're going to do because of it. And I'm just like, this is kind of a dick move, but I guess I'll never know what it's like to be a multi-millionaire actor and to see, and you've only got what, 20, 30 years where you can be making movies as an action star or whatever, and to see one of your movies doing poorly in the franchise you're involved with, and hey, here goes like 3 years, 5 years of your career down the drain, and you're kind of signed in onto this. So, I don't really know what to think about it, but that's kind of what I would do with the DCEU. I would be working on what works already. I would try to take a different approach. And plus, like, you could really make yourself more, kind of make yourself different from the Marvel universe, because like in this scenario, it it's really Wonder Woman who would be the one pushing and starting the Justice League, which, with how her character was made, I feel like she could do. Like, it doesn't, even in the first movie, it doesn't seem to me like she is a I work alone character. Like, that always struck me as weird that, certain characters, like, everything about Batman in the shows I've seen and watched, he seems like such a I work alone type character. And then he has Robin, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, everything about him says that I work alone and I'm not going to endanger anyone else and all this stuff. And then he's just got this, child also fighting crime with him. And I'm like, what? What do you think? So now I'll ask you, what do you think is wrong with my idea? And what would you change but keep in the same vein if you went with my idea?
Okay. See, what I would do is I'd get rid of Batman. That whole Batman thing that you had, that masked vigilante in Gotham, I'd get rid of that. We already know it's going to be Batman, so that just seems, to me, it seems condescending to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also, I don't know, I'd replace Wonder Woman.
Really?
Yep, I'd replace Wonder Woman because what you're pitching to me sounds like a buddy cop movie. A buddy cop movie with superheroes. And only other dude that I can see, there's two people that I can see paired up with Green Lantern, but one of them's already got his own TV show. Yep. So does the other one, but one of them's not in the DCEU, so I would replace Wonder Woman with the Flash. The Flash and Green Lantern. Because they have a great dynamic within the league. Whenever they're in the league, they're always wisecracking smart asses. It's like Spider-Man and Deadpool, not to that full-on extent, but they're similar in the way that they always bounce off each other. And I would keep it, because obviously you want to go lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
So
the thing is, I wasn't talking about making a movie with where both of them are central characters. I was talking about making movies where one of them is a central character, and then one of them kind of just also shows up and stuff like that. Like, as a kind of misnomer, how they did with Iron Man and with Robert Downey Jr. during Hulk and stuff like that. Like, post-credit scenes where they're a very small part, but, like, just kind of inkling that the world is being built. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't get that impression when you first said it.
Oh, okay. That's kind of... because, like... Well, that's what I was trying to say when I said, like, they've got one half of the U.S. and the other one has the other half of the U.S. or something like that. And that's probably not a good position for Wonder Woman to be, because she's never been, like, a U.S. hero. She's more of a world hero or a you know what I mean?
Themyscirian, yeah.
She's
Which is
yeah.
actually what I quite liked about Justice League when she was in France, and she had that
Hmm.
moment where she took down those burglars in France, and then she flies down, and everyone just rushes to her.
Yeah.
I quite liked that moment. It was one of my favorites.
I don't know. The truth is I really enjoyed Wonder Woman, and I wasn't prepared to like Wonder Woman as much as I did. There was nothing in her character before I saw the movie that really pulled me to her. But like the other thing is I never searched her out, and then the movie came out and I enjoyed her character. I enjoyed what she did. I liked how she acted. I honestly enjoyed how how they wrote her character, basically arguing with norms of the universe. But they did it without like being preachy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like I know better. It was like, well, I mean, this what why would you do that? And to be both a smart character and a naive character that doesn't know things was really hard to do, and she pulled it off great. Like a character who questions why things are but also isn't afraid to learn. Like and like it was one of the best scenes I liked in Wonder Woman is they're talking about on the boat and she's like, "Oh, well, men aren't necessary to fulfill a woman's needs." And it's just like, "Oh, okay." And she comes off like that and then she meets a baby and she just freaks out. Like think about that. Think about, if you've never seen a baby in your entire life and then you see one, like imagine never seeing, for a guy at least, imagine never seeing a dog in your life and then you see a puppy, and tell me you wouldn't have that exact same reaction. And I'm just like, I loved it. I loved how she played the character. And it's the only character I feel certain that they could build a successful world around, that like using Gal Gadot, or is it Gadot or Gadot?
Good dot.
Gadot. Using Gal Gadot and building this world around her is like, I mean, I know it would be more difficult, but it is like the only thing they know works right now. And I would focus very much on making a good story. And I'm not saying make a good movie. I'm saying pick a classic story that resonates with people. Like Star Wars the first Star Wars was a coming of age story where it had the boy, the wise old man, the rogue, and they had to like go destroy this great evil. It was a very classic story. Like work on a classic storyline, like the Magnificent Seven, a classic story. Like make the story a very classic idea. Don't try and reinvent the wheel with storytelling. So, Wonder Woman was a fish out of water story. The But they didn't try to do too much crazy stuff with it. They got a good story and they went with it. And I would caution trying to reinvent the wheel before it works. So like they didn't make Guardians of the Galaxy until they had like everything in place. They didn't make Ant-Man they didn't say, "What if we did a superhero heist movie?" until they had, Avengers in the books. And so what I'm talking about might be a little crazy, or it might be a little, a bit out of the box. But like when you saw Batman versus Superman, or even the Superman film, they rushed his character development so much. Like Superman killed in the first movie, and it's like, no, you didn't develop the level of annoyance with Superman not killing. Like, you need to get to the point
No,
with
you see,
Superman.
no, I think the killing in that movie served a different purpose. That movie was definitely the killing of Zod in that movie was definitely for Cal to earn his humanity. He had to earn what it's like to be human by taking another life.
I'd say you learn more about being human through losing someone important to you than by killing.
No, he had to. No, that killing's definitely for
No.
Cal to earn his humanity. Well, for not for Clark to earn his humanity, because Clark's already earned his humanity as living on the farm in Kansas. This is for Kal El, the alien, the man of steel, to earn
Hmm.
his humanity.
I just feel like
Because I always
DC
see as
puts a
Superman
big
as
thing. DC puts a big deal on not killing, and Marvel puts a big deal on trying to hide your, or at least in the shows I watch, trying to hide your uh, your secret identity because you have to protect those people around them. And Marvel hasn't done it as much, but like the entire reason why Superman always hid behind a mask and was careful with his identity is because he wanted to love people and he wanted to have relationships, and he knew if someone like knew who he was, then they would be in danger. And so then he ends up, you know, and so when you don't have that, a lot of the stories you have is, I can't let people near me because they might get hurt. And then they're like, yeah, but I get to make that decision for myself because I'm a strong this character. And then he's like, but and she's like, well, I should let her make this decision or whatever because she loves me. And then at the same time, they never come back to, no, I'm not letting you make that decision for me because I don't want to deal with the fallout of you dying. Like, that's actually the answer. Like, it's a little selfish, but when you look at it, you're like, listen, if you die because of my secret, that will mess me up. And I don't want to deal with that. So I'm not going to let us be a thing. And then, people will take them anyway because you're a close friend or whatever. Like, there's a flaw in that because if kidnapping like, you've never seen a superhero have a rando kidnapped and the hero not go out of their way to save them. So, like, they could like, if someone takes Spider-Man's like janitor, you know, someone like the superintendent Spider-Man doesn't like, or the landlord that Spider-Man has to deal with regularly. Spider-Man will still go way out of his way to save them because it'll be like, no, I have to save this person. This person died because he's my landlord. Sure, I hated the guy and he didn't fix the hard water problem and the air conditioning was out, but
well, he
he
just wanted
was
his
here
rent.
he was here because he knows me. And so, like, people can still do that, but it never hits on the fact that evil people are going to be evil
Which is
regardless of.
which is exactly why I think Batman is the reason, or Batman is how you fix the DC universe. Because
Yeah.
Batman, as a character, is the quintessential everyone is evil, no one can stop them. I have the money, I have the know how to stop them, I need to stop them.
Plus, Gotham is quite a place. Gotham is literally the worst. So what time period and what city is Gotham based on? Or is
Okay.
it literally, it's just like the worst aspects crime wise of of a New York or Detroit or
I think
Chicago
it's a
or
mix of from what I've read, I think Gotham City is based on the worst parts of because Metropolis and Gotham are next to each other. Like there's just a bay separating them.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
Metropolis to me has always been New York, and
yeah.
Gotham represents the worst of New York, but in a
Hmm.
New Jersey geographical location. Like, I'm not trying to bag on New Jersey. I've never been to
Yeah.
America. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to. But what I'm saying is,
Dude, any musical ever just bags on New Jersey.
exactly why I don't want to, because I've never been there. I can't have an honest opinion. But I think Metropolis is there to show what's great about New York and about the world, where Gotham is, it's like Two-Face.
Yeah.
It's quite literally Two-Face. The left side's Metropolis. That's what's great about it. It's all about peace, justice in the American way, and that's what we do because we're Americans. Where Gotham is all like, lol, we've been screwed over. We need to screw other people all over in order
Yeah.
to survive in this world. They're a very big juxtaposition thrown in geographically as well, as one's on the left, one's on the right.
You know, I think honestly, if we go back to the very basics of what has happened and what has worked, I think the Arrow universe, given what they could do, did a great job in building the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
Because like they made Batman. They did the first season was Batman's story. And then the second season you see the introduction
Oh,
of
even
Superman.
the cops are smelling your bullshit and coming to arrest you.
No. I just that's actually an ambulance. I live
Oh,
pretty
okay.
close to a hospital, and so they use my road to get quick back to the hospital, and so they they built the world very well, and like they made Star City or Starling City in the beginning. They made it Gotham, and then Superman comes in and he starts solving problems pretty easily because that's kind of what the Flash did. But at the same time, he also needed Arrow's guidance because he was new to it, and so I like the fact that they keep coming back to and they've actually really undone this in the recent seasons, because what Arrow always had was the confidence knowing that he was doing what was necessary to save the world, and Flash did not have that confidence. But the Flash could fix all of these problems without people getting hurt, whereas people got hurt in the Arrow universe in Star City. And so after all this time, now Arrow is afflicted with the body count that he's made, and Flash really is like, "Oh, I'm starting to see a body count. Oh no, people are dying around me." And Oliver's like, "That's a cool story, bro." Like, he's just like, I lost my mother, and like all of these people around me are dying, and I lost my DC Universe wife and lover, and everything going on, because like Batman loses people and Superman doesn't. And I really like how they built that, because like the truth is they could have easily messed it up where they just, especially when Flash became more popular, they just made Flash the character that got everything right and Arrow the one that didn't. And it would have been easy to do that, but the Flash keeps coming back. And when they did the super crossover this year, which I still think is like the crowning achievement of the Arrowverse, is the crossover, the 4-episode crossover into I think it was Earth X. Crisis on Earth X. Like, I still think that was the crowning achievement of the Arrowverse, even if you think the Arrowverse took a step back this year, was they put together a feature film
Yeah.
that was that like as a movie worked, and they did it with doppelgangers, which makes sense since they're in different worlds, but that's like the CW's thing. They really like their actors, and so they use them. But like, I like the fact that, and I've talked about it before, I like the fact that Oliver was basically the big bad on both universes, because like they do that with Batman a lot. Is Batman, no, it's not Superman, it's Batman is the one you have to worry about, because like the thing about Superman is everyone is constantly planning on how to kill Superman. So like if the Flash was the problem and he needed to be removed, or even Superman, you can just go to the villains and they'll be like, okay, no, we're figuring out how to kill Superman. Don't worry about it. We got this. Like, if injustice happens, there are enough people trying to figure out how to, that like the good guys could just swing over to the bad cave and be like, yeah, no, hey, we need some kryptonite shit. And they'd be like, oh yeah, we got you. Yeah, just kill this guy. But with Batman, everyone's like, oh no, oh yeah, we haven't been focusing on him, because Batman also needs there to be big bad, like scary superheroes as well, because if they just started focusing on killing Batman like they focus on killing Superman, Batman would be dead. Because it's a lot easier to kill him, but like every time someone's coming after Batman, you know you have to deal with everyone else, whereas like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, I just feel like it's like they did the Arrowverse. It hasn't been all perfect, but like they did what they had to do to make it work. And Supergirl still doesn't feel to me like it's part of their, it's like they still haven't fully converted it to a CW show, you know?
Boy, Untold Leaf, thank you for that follow, my dude. But anyway, I don't know about you. I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
So, thanks everyone for stopping by. Hope you had a grand old time. And we'll see you next week in the late morning.
That guy's Cobra Kai. And I am Mike.
He's Michael. He's Michael Scott from The Office.
Why do you suck the fun out of everything?
You called me a character, I called you a character. Alright, anyway, we'll see you guys later.